Okay, we will call the P&D meeting of March 21st, 2012 to order. I'm Bruce Toby, Chair of the P&D Committee. On my left is Ward 5 Councilor Ted Burton, Vice Chair. And on my right is Ward 4 Councilor and Council President Jackie Hardy. Ward 2 Councilor Melissa Fox is also in the House. And we have a good group of folks. Welcome. The first order of business this evening, on the item continued business, is a memorandum from General Counsel regarding the Pavilion Beach easement. The Chair would recognize General Counsel Suzanne Egan, and I'd ask you to begin the dialogue with the committee this evening by giving us a status report on where the discussions regarding this document stand, and given that positioning, what's your recommendation to the council, please?
Okay, thank you. Good evening.
I want to ask that you stand too. I'm going to ask that folks speak up. I'm going to ask that everyone who speaks, and this is not a public hearing, so that will be limited, when called upon to speak, identify themselves by name and address. And council, please.
Stand over here. Okay. Good evening, members of the committee. I'm pleased to present to you tonight the grant of an easement document from the Boat LLC, which grants to the city of Gloucester, memorializes the city's right to use the property as a public beach. What it does is it takes all of the uncertainty and all of the questions out of the city's and the public's right to use this beach for now, forever. It's a property interest that is granted to the city, the same as though we have the deed, and therefore that the city keeps that and has an absolute authority and the ability to retain that and assert its rights to that piece of property. And I can go through this easement with you. There's a portion of it was submitted through the mayor's report to the council for the entire thing, and there has been an amendment to it, and that is in the copy that I gave you tonight.
Why don't we begin with the amendment first?
Okay. Begin with the amendment?
Please.
Okay, well, I'll give you a little background to the amendment.
Please.
Okay, so as the easement is was set out and presented to council, it set out that we had the right to use the beach, and then there was also this portion of what the landowner's rights were, and what the city was acknowledging the landowner has rights to the upland. And so what we did is we included a paragraph in there with the landowner acknowledging the city's rights, what the city has the right to do with regard to their ownership interest in the beach in terms of being an easement. And what that new language says is that the landowner acknowledges the city's right to use, maintain, permit, and regulate the use of the property for all usual and reasonable purposes that public beaches are used in the city of Gloucester. And further, the landowner acknowledges that the city may object and defend its right to use the property if it deems that the landowner's proposed use of the property is materially inconsistent with the general public's use of the property as a public beach. And then further it states that the landowner acknowledges that by entering into this agreement, the city has not waived any interest, right in its ability to assert or defend the public's right to use the property as it has customarily been used. And so this provision is what we would have understood is within this agreement, but we wanted to make sure that that was just right out there, that everybody acknowledges that the city can assert that right and defend.
What exactly does that mean as it relates to concerns that the city has a right to assert ownership, or legal ownership, by prescriptive use purchase? Is that right reserved or waived by this language?
To assert prescriptive rights?
The equivalent of adverse possession.
The city,
I want to start with Suzanne.
Okay.
We've been joined by Ward 1 Councilor Paul McGarry, which means that a form of the city council is in attendance.